There are people who are getting the same things done to them. But in China, it's direct. They're going by the Bertrand Russell scheme, and Bertrand Russell scheme was part of this global planning committee from the 1930s and 40s and 50s onwards. He was part of that global planning committee of how they've managed the public with a social credit system even. They were thinking of a way where you'd all have money going into a bank. Now it's electronic, of course. And in the Russell system, the government could punish you by stopping you from getting money to pay your rent or money for food and so on, and get you on your knees basically until you repented and apologized and promised to obey and all that kind of stuff. This is how it's done. It's very simple. It's treating you in the way you treat an animal. It's animal policy, basically, training policy. And this is the system we're in today, because it will not tolerate any other opinion and any other ways of looking at things except the authorized way. This attitude is incredible, because when you go back into Pavlov, what do you think Pavlov was up to? You think Pavlov was trying to find a way to train dogs? Huh? No, it was to find how to instill into people, all creatures, because they classify people as being just the same, with these massive, repetitive punishment techniques and fear techniques and so on, and which is very similar to what they tried to do with the CIA and MK Ultra, where they would literally shock the people with the electroshock treatment, basically, coupled with massive doses of LSD to depattern the brain, and then they would rebuild the person. Literally, that's what it was about. Well, in an advanced system of socialism, they've already done it because they got the children young, and indoctrination is very strong. And if the yoke, this is the key to it, if the yoke is light, if the burden is light to an extent, and you give them the rewards, just like an animal, you see, then they will come to accept it, and it isn't that bad and so on. If you look at the social credit system, which is just what's going to come here, it's already coming here, actually, it's probably taken here with a lot of people already, in fact, who are cashless, etc., who did everything on their phones, and who'll tell you, I don't mind if the government's watching everything and taking notes of what I do. I don't mind, I'm doing nothing wrong. Well, that you're already trained. There's no difference between that person and the one in China. There's no difference. So it's already happened, you see. Once it's happened, if you can get that particular generation growing up for another 20 years, that would be the normal for everybody then. That's actually, it's so simple to do. If you give the little freebies, I mean, that's what got me too, is the little freebies I get. Little points and rewards. You'll get that with social credit systems. And you've already been trained if you've got yourself a points card for grocery stores or pharmacies. They've already trained you. It's the mousetrap, you know. If you do so many, you get so many air miles or so many this or so much of a discount, you're already trained the same way as a communist social credit system. That's how it's done. Huh? And you get little things through into your email, how you've been a good customer. You're good again, you see, and you're good. Goody two shoes, eh? And you feel all smug and wonderful. Oh, wow. You see? But they'll also start, like they do in China, to warn you if you've made a wrong choice in something. They've already floated ideas here. It's the same. We're in the same global system, folks. All this stuff with China is different. No, it's a one global system already. The trick was to make you believe that it wasn't. As you became all the same. And years ago, I remember reading articles on the radio show where they talked about doing battles against sugar and so on, and they'd actually send it to your iPhone or to your email and give you little cautions like naughty. Well, notice you're taking too much sugar because you're buying more at the grocery store, because everyone's cashless, you see. And then eventually, of course, it goes into the healthcare system. It's already there. Years ago, and you still have them every so often, how in bioethics, how to manage the cattle. That's the public. We truly are looked upon like cattle now, honestly. We're animals. and how you train them and so on. And it's your own fault if you've got problems related to weight, for instance. That's what they're telling you. Right? And they said they would even refuse folk down the roads to treat them if things were self-inflicted. It's an amazing system. It really is. And it's, when you see it all, you can see it all around you as part of your system, but you can't connect the dots. But it's all connected if you've done a little bit of looking and studying and seeing what social contracts are all about. And they're calling that now social contracts again. It's just amazing to live through this system as it's perfected and brought in step by step, and how folk adapt to it by the day, by the week, by the month, by the year, without a questioning, no questioning at all. That's what's fascinating to me. You'd really hope that there'd be more people that say no, hey, no. But again, all studies have shown that it's only a small minority of people in any generation who are indignant enough to say no to whatever it happens to be. It's always the same. And they know this too. But it's like getting back to what's happening. As long as the yoke is light, right? And you play the game, and you do what you're told, and you'll even adapt your behavior and your vocabulary into being politically correct. Awfully good. Yeah, I'm awfully good, right? Goody two-shoes. And then you'll be patted on the head. And they might give you little freebies here and there for being an awfully good citizen, you see. Well, you see, that's not democracy, folks. That is not democracy at all. And democracy is not supposed to punish folk who won't be part of the oneness of it all. Democracy is a variety of opinions and a variety of even ways of behavior. And in seeing things and how, I used to like meeting people, and it's true, England at one time had a tradition of oddball characters that would work in their back sheds and invent things. And it's true, you meet oddball characters who were into oddball things, and they'd make stuff and invent stuff, and it was more than a hobby, it was what they lived for, basically. And that was fantastic. And you'd say they're all oddballs. And they'd probably all disagree with each other about whatever they're making and comparing them and all that. But they didn't come to blows about it. It was interesting, a society like that. It really was. And that's how it should be. You cannot really have a free society unless you have tolerance. And tolerance is the right, as Orwell said, basically, to say what you want to say, like 2 and 2 is 4, not what you're told to say. It's so sad when we're really in this incredible boat of political correctness, which is completely intolerant and is definitely not democratic. And with what you're seeing now is the massive, it truly is hatred from those who are ruling it right now. You feel it's probably like people sensed before the Bolsheviks took over Russia and the mass slaughter started. It's the same kind of feeling you have with fanatics. Most of them who are trained to be fanatics, they've been radicalized by very clever people above them. They never know that themselves, but they're completely radicalized. They have no tolerance at all. It's not a good time to be alive and going through this if you're still an individual. You will go through it. We're going through it now. And it's when you step up into the scientific management system that the H.G. Wells wrote about. He wanted to come in. He was part of it too, of course. He wrote a lot of books on non-fiction on how to manage this system. It's an old system. It's many centuries old. This whole agenda. And the coming collapse, financial collapse, which is designed to come, is all part of it too, because it's planned that way. You understand, a system that's backed by nothing, there's no gold or anything backing anything that's out there. Everything's run on debt money and IOUs. You trade IOUs today. That's what countries have been doing forever. trading and giving out IOUs. It's a complete joke. And those who control and run the money, which is central banking systems, it's only one system, really. They're, again, the private club in London, the Royal Institute for International Affairs, preceded by the Milner Group, Lord Alfred Milner, and his group, to bring in a global society. Money is all part of it, and the wealth of the world. They had no problems going into Africa, getting the war started with the Boers, and in order to get the gold and diamonds. That was part of it, for themselves. And that's also why their agent in the States, it was Rockefeller, one of their agents, said that competition is a sin. He wasn't being facetious, he was being honest from his point of view. They believe, as the rulers of the world, the richest people on the planet, they had the right to take over the wealth of the world and dispense it proportionally to all those down below. They didn't believe in democracy, but they did know they'd have to use this thing called democracy to get everybody initially to go along with it. Do you remember the farce of when the American troops went into Iraq, and you saw it on news clips, where the soldiers were swearing at them, at the Iraqis, saying, you stupid, we've come to give you democracy. You don't have democracy in your own country. America's supposed to be a republic. It's democratic within its own system of laws of a republic. Meaning it can't be upset or changed and altered. Well, what happened to that one? But why? Why is this farce supposed to work with other countries that have never known of it? Well, it's that other countries know it's a farce. They know it's a farce. But it's never been so obvious as today. It's in your face. And it's angry. And it looks upon everybody, regardless of your age group, as that you're all children, naughty children, bad children. And the reason the anger is there and the threat behind it. Now here's the key, is the threat. You feel the threat everywhere. Is to make you play the game and do what you're told and obey. That's what it's for. It's not a good time. And it's going to get a lot worse, believe you me. A lot worse. Now, let's touch on a few of the articles, like this one here. It says, in stores, secret Bluetooth surveillance tracks your every move. And it goes into shopping in your favorite grocery store, and you approach the dairy aisle, you're sent a push notification in your phone, 10% off your favorite yogurt. Click here to redeem your coupons, and you considered buying yogurt on your last trip to the store, but you decide against it. How did your phone know? Everything you're doing is recorded, and literally it goes through all these algorithms. It's not like they're spending billions of dollars just on you see. The algorithms are so advanced today that super computers can do billions of people at per second, actually. That's how precise they are. They can manage us all. Anyway, it says, so your smartphone was tracking you and still got your location data, paid a shadowy group of marketers to use that information to target you with ads. And recent reports have noted how companies use data gathered from cell towers and ambient Wi-Fi's and general positioning satellites are global. But the location, the data industry has a much more precise and unobtrusive tool called Bluetooth beacons. I'll put this up for those who care, because your technology is not there for your benefit. It really does. It's not really not. You are being trained in Pavlovian style, and you don't even know it. And like Aldous Huxley said, you come to love your servitude. You're a servant of the corporations who run and rule you. And then the unholy alliance between DNA size and facial recognition. This is a kind of repeat. I remember doing one years ago on the same kind of thing. And it says technology that was once only seen in dystopian science fiction rapidly infecting real life. Two means of collecting personal data, DNA databases and facial recognition software, are forming an unholy alliance, and the privacy implications could be devastating. Privacy concerns surrounding DNA and facial recognition aren't anything new. And as the popularity of DNA genealogy websites like Ancestry, DNA, and 23andMe increase, so do questions over who has access to that data and how it will be used. They use the schmucks who jump in and say, oh, yeah, I may be related to royalty. I got to find out, you see. And then send them all the data which they know about who their grandparents were and all the rest of it, and great-grandparents, and then their DNA, and then they do searches, etc. And out of that search, they'll come all their sisters, their brothers, their mothers, fathers, everybody's, their health, you name it, you know, any medical problems which may be genetically caused, and so you're given all that data, huh? You understand, data is power to these people. That's why they're after it. And of course they sell it off to insurance companies, and believe you me, employers, employers get it all true. The big employers, they have agencies that can get all this kind of data from them and pay for it, of course, but they can then turn people down. You'll never know why they turn you down. It's because they've got your medical histories and what you're prone to and not prone to and all that kind of stuff, you see. So, as I say, the schmuck who falls for it ends up putting all the rest of their family and siblings in danger. Huh? There you go. So it says, genealogy sites have been making the news of late, mainly for concerns over how personal data is used and who has access to that information. Recently, GED Match, which has more than 1 million genetic profiles in its database, decided to stop providing information to police without user permission. To police, you see. Last month, the site faced criticism when it allowed Utah police to use the database while investigating a violent assault. Prior to the change, GED Match allowed police to use its data only for rapes and homicides, reports Bloomberg, it says. And it goes on and it says, and of course they're all doing it, folks. They're doing it. And then engineers are figuring out how to match DNA to faces and databases. There's quite amazing stuff from China again, who are way ahead in all this stuff with the facial recognition. They literally can on YouTube, I think they even have some documentaries on how advanced they are. They show you the facial recognition techniques and how it's instantly measured all parts of your face in precise little millimeters and all that. They know exactly who you are, where you are, instantly. And it reads on the computer. A whole crowd, all their names will pop up above the little people in the crowd. And that's, and there's a movie out too, I think it's called, Anon, about that, getting you used to the idea about it. So, this is your totally controlled world, folks. So it says a team of engineers just built an algorithm that scans through a database of images and selects the faces that could be linked to the DNA found at a crime scene. Could be linked, right? Until they're predicting what someone's face looked like based on DNA sample has really scientists, but it's getting easier for them to use samples to filter the right face from a database. As an international, here again, team led by researchers at KU Leuven has shown. And their findings were published in Nature Communications. And I'll put these links up. You know, you can, it's contained in this particular article here. So they go on about it too, in different press releases, other links and so on. And it's in this one, contained inside this one article for those who care about it. Most folk don't care. They know it's happening and they don't care, but I'm good, you see. I've got good point systems for the stuff I buy in the stores, you know, and they even congratulate me for making the right decisions in my purchasing. Getting back to talking about China, in China, your social credit system will also give you warnings if you're eating too much meat or the wrong kind of meat or something like that too. You see how it's done? Or spending money on maybe on cigarettes. Because even then in the streets, they can actually see you smoking, instantly know where you are, who you are, and that's it. And you get a little warning, maybe initially a little warning, and eventually if you continue, you get bad scores. And if you get bad scores, you have less access to where you can go inside the country or even inside your own town or city. And certain places will be banned. You won't be allowed to get through certain doors. It'll read you instantly and they won't open for you. This is your, as I say, remember, it's not a democratic system, folks. The choices are all recommended, allowed choices. It's a narrow band of them. And you get appearance of choice, but it's a narrow authorized band of them. And also, right down to your phone calls in China, if you phone someone inside China, and the person, if they've got a bad credit rating or whatever it happens to be, as a social credit, remember, it's your behavior. It's a behavioral credit system. And a voice will come on the phone before you speak to the person saying that this person has a bad social credit rating. To warn you as well, to shame the person. Shaming is a big part of controlling the population in the social system. And it's getting worse and worse here, of course. Big time. And me saying it isn't going to stop it. I'm just saying it because I know it's going to happen. And at least I do know it's been happening too in some malls, and they've tested it out in some places already, for over the last few years, in fact. Anyway, it says here this could be used for different purposes, this DNA and so on, and facial recognition, and special software, and so on and so on and so on. And don't forget too, it's also do eugenics. With your history, your family history, your DNA history, any probable possibilities. This goes into the whole area of Gattaca, the movie, where those who are genetically enhanced, where any possibly bad genes, including allergies and so on, might affect you, are removed, and the better ones put in there. Well, I can do the same. You understand how they can, if you study farming, and stock breeding, and you study eugenics, and you study eugenics society in America and Cold Spring Harbor, remember, the big lab there that was set up for eugenic purposes for humans. They actually brought in the American Farmers Association and Stock Breeders Association for advice on how to literally change the people themselves, just like they do with cattle. Well, now, of course, with cattle and pigs and all the rest of it, they've got artificial insemination, and they literally alter, take out the genes again in the semen, the sperm, and they can substitute other ones too, and implant it with other ovums and so on that are also enhanced. They're taking the bad bits out. In other words, you're creating what you want to be a designer person, as they do a designer cow or a designer bull. That's how it's done. And a lot of folk are already domesticated in the system. They'll say, oh, what's wrong with that then? What's wrong with that? Yeah. Well, maybe for the ones who say that, actually, there's nothing wrong for it. They're quite happy. They're already changed. They're domesticated. But for the folk who are not, you're unique as a person. See, it's the uniqueness of individuals that must be destroyed in this advanced totalitarian, socially run system. And that's the target of it all. That's anathema to conformity for the social system. So standardization is always what they get coming out of it. And what do you think teachers are paid so much money for? You can tell that they're not churning out children who are well educated as far as knowledge about the world and different sciences, but they certainly are indoctrinated with the latest PC social engineering. You understand that? Well, that's why you pay teachers an awful lot. And Stalin said that you've got to pay them an awful lot of money because they are the first line to indoctrinate the children into the system. Nothing changes. Anyway, so I'll put this article up here for those who care about it, to see about it too. Most folk out there, remember, and a lot of who are listening already are cashless. They don't use cash at all. And everything, they don't mind even being monitored because they're goody-goody, and they'll obey and be good and say all the right things in conversation and so on. But there are those who don't. They like being an individual, and they like having choices in life, It's interesting to observe it when you understand why it's happening, how it's happening. And it's interesting to see the incredible intolerance that you've only read about in previous areas of history in the past as it resurfaces again. Remember, buy the books and this, and donate to me at cuttingthroughh.com. I'm Alan Watchman, Ontario, Canada, and it's good night. And may your God or your gods go with you.